rare and serious complication of EVAR. Anybody has an idea what is a rare complication of EVAR? Guess? You will get a device free if you guess. Correct. So anyway, it's something I saw it for the first time. This is why I'm reporting this case. So EVAR device failure, it has been described with all generation of devices despite the improved stent graft and the implantation technique. Conversion after EVAR have also increased and will probably continue increasing as EVAR become preferred method of treatment of abdominal aortic aneurysm. And the most common reason for the conversion is endoleak and aneurysm expansion and infection. So today I want to show you a case where there is a disintegration of the top stent on the abdomen and on a standard EVAR on the abdominal aortic stent graft. This is our case report, a patient 55 years old. He suffered from an infrarenal abdominal aortic aneurysm treated in 2014 with a standard device. And this is the final images, and it looks good. It's a standard device. Immediate post-EVAR follow-up showed a complete exclusion of the aneurysm and regular appearance of the stent graft. So, and then in 2015, 1 year later, he had one follow-up, which looks very good. 2016, a second follow-up, and then 2017, 18, no follow-up, and 2019, he came with this picture where you can see the bare metal is completely separated from the stent graft, from the main body. And there is a dilatation of the neck, which wasn't present over there. There was no endoleak, but you can see the stent migrated down, and there is a kink in the stent. And what has happened, this is how the main body of the graft is built. The bare metal stent is fixed on the graft by sutures. This is how they fix this suprarenal fixation. And what happened that this suture, with the time, get eroded through the graft material, and the device moves down and gets separated from the bare metal fixation stent. So this is what we are dealing with now. There is a gap between the bare metal and the stent graft, and the stent graft migrated down, and the iliac limb also started to kink. So this is the main problem. Now, how to fix? And do we need to fix? This is a question. So a surgical option, very difficult to convince a patient who had an EVAR in the beginning to tell him, we want to take your device out and to repair the aneurysm. Connecting graft between the bare metal and the graft with maybe endo anchors, but the neck is dilated and you will end exactly on the separated bare metal. Chimney, the two renal arteries are on the same level. So, or a custom-made fenestrated device. So, surgery, patient refused, which is logic. And bare metal connecting stent, there is no enough safe landing zone. Chimney, two renal arteries at the same level, and the aorta is small in size. So we decided to go for the custom-made fenestrated device. However, there is challenges. And the first challenge, the patient has 4 renal arteries. So on each side, we have 2 renal arteries. And according to the IFU of the fenestrated stent graft, the minimal required direct contact between the aortic wall and graft, the graft, according to the IFU for fenestrated stent, is 2 centimeters. Having said this, the graft has to start above the celiac trunk. So we need 4 fenestration for renal arteries, 1 fenestration for the SMA, and a scallop. And we have bare metal in front of the renal arteries, which will make the cannulation even more difficult. So this is what we ended with, a device with 5 fenestration and a scallop, 4 for the renal artery, 1 for the SMA, and the scallop for the celiac trunk, and the main body with inverted iliac limb to be able to cannulate them. So this is our plan. And You can see here that the bare metal is completely separated from the graft and the graft moved down. This is the device, and this is the implantation procedure. So we deployed, cannulated right and left renal artery, and then came from brachial axis, we cannulated the 4. And this is now how the final image looked like. 4 renal arteries, the SMA, and the celiac. And the case went very well. So we looked in the literature after we saw this. For me, it was the first time I saw this, and I have a very long history with EVAR. So there was one publication which published in 2011 reporting about long-term result after endovascular abdominal aortic aneurysm repair using the Cook-Sennett endograft. And they report about 143 patients were treated with this device, and the follow-up was 66 months. And in the long-term follow-up, they found only 3 patients with a disconnection of the top stent device. Another publication, this was only case reports, 2 men treated with EVAR, 75 and 67 years old, follow-up CT at 4 and 3 years. So it's not something you see immediately, you see it very late. And they found the separation of the proximal fixation stent. One was treated with a fenestrated cuff, and 1 patient was treated with open surgery. These are the images. You can see how the stent is separated completely from the graft material, and the upper case was treated with the fenestrated graft. So I think physicians should be aware of such a rare and serious complication. You can see such a complication only if you do a long-term follow-up. So a 1 or 2 or 3 years is not enough to identify such a complication. And when you identify such a complication, you have a lot of challenges. First of all, anatomical challenges. You have economical challenges because, the insurance will ask you, how comes I have to pay for a more expensive device, and you just 2 years I paid for the other device? And the patient will ask the same. So, and you need to fix this problem, you need the advanced technology, or you will end with surgery. Thank you very much for your attention.